doing? Gary here from Platform 1 MRC. Hope you're all been well. A few members of various Facebook groups that I'm on have asked me how I produce my back scenes for my model railways. They've seen a few photographs and said, hey, how'd you do that? And from a recent post that I've put up on a couple of the groups, and a lot of people inquired about it and whether they could get the file. But rather than hand out a file, I'm going to show you in this quick tutorial how I produce these back scenes. Now, you will have to download PosteRazor. Now, there is a tutorial on here on how to use it, but what I'm going to show you right now is pretty much how I've produced my back scenes using this. Basically, this is designed so you can print at home onto A4 sheets or letter size sheets, depending where you are, on your home printer, then paste them together. So what we'll do, I'm going to close that off and I'm going to go into a bunch of my images that I've used for back scenes. Now, this list of images up here, I'm just going to show you what makes a good back scene image and some of the pitfalls of choosing a back scene. As you can see with this one, there is a lot of foreground material in here, fence running up into the distance. But what I'd recommend on this picture is actually to crop it down. Now what we will do, I'll show you a cropped image of this, and basically what I've done is brought the base of this up to about there and pretty much lowered the sky down so I can get some length out of this image, which is here. You can see what I've done there. It's the same image, just the foreground and bit of the sky removed. Now if I threw that into PosteRazor, that would probably, I could print it 350 high, 450 high, 550 high, which is the height here, and whatever length that may be. Once you're in PosteRazor, you will see that whatever height you make that image, the length will calculate itself. Now if you didn't want an image that was going to be 3.5, 4 meters long, you only wanted something for a short shelf layout, maybe you could reduce this back this way. Okay, so that's an ideal image. Now this one here, not a very good image, reason being tree in the foreground, or midground, tree in the midground. Now if I crop that down to size, if I took that down to, brought the ground up to there, now that shrub's going to be very close to your railway and give an unrealistic appearance. So something like that I would avoid. You could use that center section through here, but then again you lose the length by doing that. This image here, again, fence line that runs through here, it's not very good through here and here, plus there's a blemish in the panoramic image there. Now all of my panoramic images have been done on the mobile phone or the cell phone. You can do it on various cameras. As you know, put it into pano mode, right to left, left to right, whichever way you choose, and try and capture as much scene as possible. Try and capture as much of the background and as much sky to be able to use when you produce your, or go to produce your back scene. Now this ain't a bad scene at all. Okay, we've got a fence here and we've got fence over here, but what I can do, I can actually reduce that in that way, close that in there, and a little bit from the other side over here, bring that, try and hide that fence there like so, and then we can bring that up. You may want more foreground, but the more foreground you got here, the more you have to reduce here because of that barbed wire fence that runs down here. So rather than be back here, you will be here. I prefer to have as little foreground as possible because theoretically you'll be looking out into the distance. Again, it depends on your height versus your length. Now that image there, I've used this one on a model railway on one of my New South Wales ones. As you can see, there are a few things in the foreground here. You've got these signs, you've got this fence here, telegraph pole over here, plus this tree line or this hedgerow through the side here. But as you can see from the next image, I've reduced all of that. Now that's quite a long scene. If I printed that at 350, 400 high, you can imagine 400, 800, 1200, 1600, 2400. As you can see, it's going to be closer to you know, 4 meters in length. So again, choose wisely. If it's too long for your particular layout, reduce the size, maybe bring that side into here, maybe bring that side across. It all depends on what you want in your scene. This image here is what we're going to use as part of this tutorial. As you can see, there's a few things in the scene. You've got tree here, tree on the right, fence post, gate, and that in there looks like a in-ground pump for the cornfield. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go into, I'm going to close that off, and I'm just going to go into paint now. There we go. We're going to open up a file, we're going to choose that particular file, and I'll show you how we shrink it down. It's pretty much cropping the picture. Backscene Originals, there we go, the tutorial, we'll open that. There's our image there. Now, straight up the crop. And as you can see, we can bring that in. We're going to bring it above that tank there, into about there. We're going to lower the sky down so we can get some good length on this back scene. I think about there would be great. And when we take that in there, so we lose that tree, and we want to lose that tree there. Maybe lower that down a little bit more. And if that's about 300, 350, 400 high, as you can see, 400, 400, 800, 1200, we're almost 2.4 meters long with that particular scene. So we'll hit done. Just save that. Save as an image. And there we go. Now we're going to put it into the same, we're going to call that tutorial. I'll just put in cropped so I pick up the right one afterwards, and save that in that same file that I had open earlier. Okay, we can close that off now. Don't save. Back over here, we will run down, which I've already got PosteRazor here. Bang. PosteRazor, there we go. I'll bring that up large for you. Now, that's the first page. There's only 5 steps to producing your back scene. Go across to the right hand corner up here and you have the file there. Now we can go through, there we have it there. Take up the tutorial cropped, open that up, and there we have it here. Now, on the right hand column here, I don't know if you can see that, but at the moment the image is 194.97 millimeters high by 1116.1 millimeters long. So we want to increase that, say to fit a, we'll say a 6-foot layout. So all what this here is about, if you want to print it out at home, you can put a margin and a border around the edge of your image. So I'll just show you what we can do here. We'll say 5 millimeters, as you can see, black line there. The reason behind this is when you want to overlap the images. So we're going to take that back to 0. We're going to go to next because I don't particularly want anything. Here's your other overlapping sides. Top left, top right, bottom left. I don't want anything on this image at all because what we're going to do is use it for our own purposes. Now, there's the image brought up on PosteRazor. Now we've got the height in here at 500 millimeters, so that is 500 millimeters high there, which is a decent sort of height for a back scene. And our width is 2,862.28 millimeters, or round about, oh, it's just over 9 feet, 9.5 feet long. So it's reasonable. That'll wrap around a 8-foot layout, not a problem, and you got that little bit of room on the edges to move. If we want to bring that down to, we'll say 2730. I'm going to put that in, so 2730 is pretty much close enough to 9 feet. We've just changed the height down to 476.8, 477 millimeters, you could say. So it's still a reasonable height there, good height for a back scene. I will go back to the 500 in here, back to the 2862.28, and we're going to go next. We're going to save that. Now we'll launch this, or we don't really have to launch it. We can actually save this poster, which we've got back in our file anyway, where we've saved the original cropped image. But with this, you now know that that image can be printed at your required size. So if you took this particular image down to your local printer, you could tell them that you want it 500 millimeters deep and whatever the length of the actual image is, which is 2668 millimeters, or 2862 millimeters, sorry. So there you go. So you know you're going to get a decent back scene, and that's how we do it. So we basically save the, we're going to close that off. We've got our image saved in our file over here. I'll just go back here to back scene and tutorial cropped. Take that image, save it on a USB stick, pop on down to your local printer, ask them to print it, tell them what height you want it at, and you'll know exactly what the length is by checking it out on the program of PosteRazor. So ideally PosteRazor is there as a mechanical tool to let you know how long an image is going to be and how high it's going to be. So you can alter those numbers to suit your particular layout. So that's pretty much it, guys and girls. Simple tutorial, shows you how to do it all. Take it down the road, print it out, and hey presto. Now what I will do, I'll post up a couple of photographs of, or a photograph of one of the back scenes I've created already, so you can see what it looks like. And if you've been on any of the Facebook groups that I'm involved with, Micro and Small Model Railroads, Platform 1 MRC Facebook group, and a few others, you'll know that you've probably seen one of the images of one of the back scenes I recently done. Alright, that's it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Don't forget, PosteRazor. I'll leave a link down the bottom for you to so you can jump onto that, download it, and hey, the world's your oyster. Back scenes galore. Alright, cheers for that. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and take care, stay safe, and see you soon.